Hi guys, my name is Lauren Clark. I am a master's student at Northern Illinois University, studying to get my master's in art education, and today I'm going to be going over an article, Advanced Placement in Studio Art and Secondary Art Education Policy, Countering the Null Curriculum. And I do have a PowerPoint presentation, so I will go ahead and show you guys these slides, and then I'll go over them and explain everything a little bit further. So my first slide is, what is AP Art? A visual art assessment at the high school level that engages large numbers of students in rigorous art experiences, is how it is referred to in this article. No child left behind in standardized testings pose a threat to AP Studio Art authentic assessment methods, and college and high school educators work together to create a challenging curriculum. So pretty much what this is saying is No Child Left Behind kind of hurts it because it is more high-stake tests. It is standardized testing, so that actually hinders when you're trying to assess art, because it's actually better to authentically assess art, especially at the AP level. And then the curriculum is created by both high school teachers and people on the college board, so it does give kids the glimpse of what they have to look forward to when they go to college if they study art. What makes a student's work AP level? So uses of elements of design, so like color theory, composition, effective uses of materials, which would be like technical skill, experimentation, which is not only just experimenting, trying a new medium that they haven't used before, that they're uncomfortable with. It's also experimenting in imagination and content, so taking risks and creating works that are kind of heavy and have a lot of like deep thought behind them. That could also qualify a kid to go into AP Art. So it's not just limited to great jars, even though most of the kids that are in AP Art are very good at drawing. Sometimes just the big imagination and the will to experiment also could classify a kid into AP Art. Another quote from the paper. The increasing prevalence of the null curriculum is the most threat to art education. When high school art teachers are allowed to create their own curriculum for AP Art students, they are able to be more creative, which leads to greater use of imagination in students. National standards and No Child Left Behind can actually stunt the curriculum. So with them trying to impose the standardized teaching on art teachers now, they really give them pretty much the whole lesson plan and don't really give them very much freedom to choose what they want to teach, which takes away some of the teacher's creativity in creating those plans, and then in return also makes it so that the kids don't use their imagination as much. They're almost pumping out art more like machines, and they are actually thinking about the content and thinking about how they've grown. So in actuality, No Child Left Behind actually hurts art. How does the assessment of core subjects relate to the assessment of art? So core subjects would be like math, English, science. That kind of makes a little bit more sense to do standardized testing, where art is more of a process, so it's very hard to make a standardized multiple choice test that can clearly demonstrate how well kids know art. And then how are AP Art classes held accountable? So students that are in AP Art talk to their teachers about not only their art but also their life. So it can also kind of help as like an outside adult point of view to get help on their work. But also most of the kids that are in AP Art kind of have some issues that they're working through. So that's good that they are able to talk to the teachers too. And then working with the College Board provides a structure that resembles college courses to students, which is like I discussed earlier, so it can show them what like drawing 1 and painting 1 and 2D design would look like if they entered it at a college level. Core subjects are assessed with standardized tests causing stress. The portfolio assessment process creates confidence. So when kids are studying for these like SATs and the ACTs, there's a lot of stress involved in it, and that can actually cause to like depression, anxiety. When you're teaching AP Art and when you're assessing AP Art, they do it authentically, so it's mainly by judging a portfolio in the process, and that actually builds confidence because the kids want you to see their progress. They want you to see how far they've come, and they want to share with you their art and what they've created. So I got this quote also from the paper. Art is easily overlooked when school leaders become obsessed with standardized tests in core subjects. So sometimes they overlook the process and they just want results and they just want numbers. And it's hard to give numbers to art. AP Studio Art does not always harmonize with art education ideology. So pretty much like we were discussing. Students that are in AP Art are encouraged to take risks and experiment and use their imagination. And there's really no right answer in art. So even when you fail, you're trying and you're learning your strengths and your weaknesses, what you're able to pull off, what you might need more help with. And then I've got a couple little images here. So the first one is kind of like the bubbly ideology of national art standards. Kind of, they want to make it good. It sounds like a good idea, but it's just hard. That middle one is actually an AP student's art. So that's a good example of experimentation with content. Not only are they experimenting with the process of the paint, but it's a very moving and emotional piece. So it speaks volumes. And then this last one is a comic also kind of poking fun of standardized testing, and just because the daughter doesn't pass the test, the school board views them as an idiot, unfortunately. The AP portfolio provides a credible measure of students' artistry on a national basis. It establishes college-endorsed standards, inducing fundamental college course ideas. It has an objective and balanced assessment of students' work, and it expands from the narrow definition of artistic giftedness. So AP Art is actually assessed by the College Board and then high school students from other schools. So you're not actually assessing your own students. So it gives it an outsider, objective point of view, which also helps with the art. They're looking at the process. They're looking at how the kids have grown, the content of the art, the master of skill. And then that narrow definition of artistic giftedness is just the idea that they're an AP Art because they're very good at drawing or they're very good at painting, and that's it. When there could be kids that might be struggling in the technical skill but are able to learn it, but have a really great imagination. So, creating motivation and developing skills. Most AP students are also taking other AP courses. AP Art is unique because some students are only in AP Art. For those students, AP Art is one of, if not the reason they come to school. The process of creating a portfolio is a different form of critical thinking. So, the picture I chose here is kind of a representation of the human brain, where your one side's very analytical, math-oriented, and then your other side is very creative, and that's where the art process comes from. And talking about kids that are in only AP Art and not in other AP courses, this is their form of expression, and this is where they find their most confidence, and this is the reason that they come to school. So taking that away from kids is really taking away a lot of their drive and their push to go and excel and be good at what they do. And as far as critical thinking, they have to think about their subject, they have to think about how they're going to take pictures or kind of research their content. So they're learning about research, they're learning how to develop an idea, they're learning about themselves, they're learning about technique in general. So it's really just a different form of critical thinking. And then I got this quote from the paper also that I found was really good. It was the AP Studio Art program provides a robust framework that supports art teachers and art programs and shapes educational policy at the high school level in ways that effectively refute the null art curriculum by giving art a place that is valued by students, parents, and school leaders. So this kind of touches on the fact that some kids, like myself, when I was in high school, I was not very good at any other subject except for art, and I was very good at art, and it was something that I was proud of. So it brings pride to the students, it brings pride to the teachers, it brings pride to the students' parents when they get to see the confidence on their kids' faces when they come home with things that they're just actually proud of making. So then my last thing is just kind of questions about AP art programs. So what's in the future for art programs? How will the rise of standardized testing in high schools affect AP art programs? With all this pushing for No Child Left Behind and wanting to see answers on paper and pencil and not necessarily a process, how does that going to affect something that's based clearly and mainly on how well they do in art? And then college curriculum is becoming more conceptual in the first year of art courses and less about fundamental techniques. How does this help or hinder AP art? So in the past, AP art has been looked at as a way to kind of show the first drawing 1 and drawing 2, but with art becoming a little bit more conceptually contemporary, it is more a little bit about the idea. So in a way, it kind of can work for art in AP art because it can challenge kids to think a little bit deeper about their curriculum or their projects, but then it can also kind of hinder it because you're trying to say that this is helping them get ready for like the drawing and the techniques and things that they learn in the basic drawing classes that they might not be really doing anymore. And then why is it hard for school boards, communities, and parents to digest portfolio assessment versus parents to accept standardized testing? So why is it so much easier for a student or a teacher or a parent to see a number, like a good SAT score or a good ACT score, and they're very proud about their students' achievements, but then there's some parents that the student will really do really good in a portfolio assessment, so assessing their art, authentically assessing how they've actually performed as an artist, and they don't see that as valuable as a test score, and that's sad, and that's kind of why is this score saying that this is where your child ranks compared to every other child in the nation makes them happy, but when they see what makes their child different and what sets them apart and what makes them unique and what processes they've gone through to become an artist, they're not as excited about it sometimes, and that's really sad because that's the strength that some kids have. Some kids are good at math, some kids are good at art, so we shouldn't have to judge them based solely on their test scores. So here's my last little questions that I posed. And then that picture there on the right is another one I found of an AP art student, and I thought that was a great example of not only mastery of the medium, but taking risk in the content. So it's showing obviously how young girls feel nowadays. They have to be perfect. They have this Barbie image, but it hurts, and they shouldn't have to feel put under pressure. Just like with our education, they shouldn't feel like they have to meet national standards. That should be more about them taking risks and exploring art and expressing themselves. So that is my presentation. I hope you all enjoyed it and learned something from it. Thank you.